Hmm. All right. Hi again. So, recently I shared with you my thoughts on love, and in previous posts I've shared certain stories with you by Robert Fulghum, which I'll be happy to take down if someone ever tells me that I've crossed a legal line. But in the meantime, I read them in the spirit of this is someone I admire, someone whose work I respect, and I want to share it with you because I think there are particular lessons that everyone should be able to glean from it because not everyone has his books, which I think is a shame, but all the same. Um, I've had a relatively difficult week. Always in the time leading up to my birthday, things get remarkably stressful. I mean, the track record is amazing, my family can tell you. But this week involved basically getting 4 hours of sleep a night since Sunday. Today is Friday. Going to bed around 2 a.m. and waking up around 6 or 7 a.m. And calorically speaking, I've probably eaten about one full meal every 24 hours this week. So it's been rough. And then we had emergency cat issues because she went in to get spayed, but there were complications because of the way she, for some reason, is internally. Things were connected where they shouldn't have been by means nature did not intend a feline to be attached as. So she had to go to a specialist, which was remarkably expensive. So there's a stress point, obviously, for Sam and I. Worth it. We love the cat. Obviously, it's worth it. But, like all marriages, money is a big thing. Excuse me. So to cheer myself up and just to post, I want to share a story called Asbestos Gelos. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. It's Greek, or Cretan Greek. Um, it's another story from Robert Fulghum. I don't know if I've shared from this book with you before. If I'm repeating myself, tell me and I'll start flagging what I've read on the vlog. But here we go, and hopefully you find this funny. Asbestos Gelos. My Cretan connection began the summer I was wandering around Europe alone, waiting for my wife to finish medical residency. No particular agenda, just doing what came next. I went to Crete to see the famous archaeological digs at Knossos and to look in on a grad school program at the Orthodox Academy of Crete. When I was ready to step off the paths beaten down by tourists, I went to a small village at the western end of the island, a fishing village at the end of the road, Colimbari. I found a room for the night and rose before the sun the next morning to go running. The day was already hot, so I dressed only in black running briefs and shoes. It's relevant to note here in the story my hair and beard were white, even then. My route took me past the main kafenyan, coffee house, of the village, where men sat outside socializing. They ignored me, and I was surprised. They seemed surly, hostile, and unwelcoming. Later, when I mentioned it to my landlord, he said, "Oh no, Christians are very welcoming to strangers. It is an old tradition, philoxenia. But in your case, the men at the Kofenion did not know what to make of you. For one thing, your hair and beard make you look a priest, but they have never seen a half-naked priest running through the village in what looks like his underwear at that hour of the morning." Oh. No problem. Smile, wave, say good morning in Greek. Kalimera. You will find them friendly. Right. Pause. See this from the point of view of the men at the Kafenyan. They've been gathering here at dawn for years without disturbance or distraction. Suddenly, without warning, the white-bearded, half-naked priest flashes by. The hell was that, Yorgos? Them define, no. Tourists get weirder every year. The next morning I set off running with goodwill toward men in my heart, ready to greet the villagers. The men at the Kafenyan see me. For the love of Christ, Yorgos, look, here he comes again. Hold the moment. As I said, my appearance was a bit of a surprise in the first place. Then there's the fact of my miserable language skills. During the night, my brain, changed Kalimera, good morning, to calamari, squid. And then there was the problem of waving. I didn't know Cretians wave with a gentle gesture of an upheld, closed-fingered hand, backside out, palm in. I didn't know the all-American hearty wave, arm extended, fingers open, is equivalent to giving Cretians the finger. In other words, up yours. To continue. Here I come. Running by the Caffenian, I shouted, calamari, 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 and gave my most enthusiastic, open-handed wave to all. The Cretians heard, squid, 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 and saw, up yours, from the priest in his underpants. Well, they fell out of their chairs laughing and shouted, calamari, calamari, and enthusiastically waved up yours back at me. More than pleased, I ran on, thinking these are truly friendly people after all, my kind of guys. Well, the men in the Caffenian could hardly believe what had happened. What planet did he fall off of, they wondered, and of course, they did what you and I would do. During the day, they told their friends about the bizarre stranger's dawn appearance, and when their friends didn't believe them, they said, no, it's true, come see, have coffee in the morning. Sure enough, here I come again. I did notice there were quite a few more men having coffee than yesterday. Look, Dimitri, I told you, here he comes. Shout squid at him, give him the finger, see what he does. So they did, and I did, and so on. Funny, rowdy laughter all around. As I ran on by, I turned and gave them the all-American sign for OK. Thumb and forefinger forming a circle, they laughed even harder and gave me the sign back. Wonderful. Word gets around. You're kidding. No, come see. The next morning, even women and children are there to greet me. But that same morning, just after I passed the coffee house, a middle school English teacher stopped me in the street. A very serious young man, visibly upset. Excuse me, mister, you're making a jackass of yourself, and those idiots at the Caffenian are helping you. You should be ashamed. You're setting a bad example. What will the children think? What's wrong? What have I done? In the first place, no self-respecting Christian man would ever go out of his house into the village dressed as you are, immodest. He went on to distinguish between calamari and calimera, and explain the fine points of correct waving. Finally, he wanted me to know the sign for OK in America was the sign Cretians used for telling someone to stick their head up their own rear end. A road rage gesture here in Crete. A serious provocation, it could lead to shots being fired. He conceded good friends might use it as a perverse joke, but strangers? Never. I felt bad. I glanced back at the men at the Caffenian. Sheepish grins. Now they knew I knew, and I knew they knew. So, now what? I walked away puzzled. Should I leave the village, find another running route, apologize? What? But I couldn't ignore one unambiguous fact. The laughter. What had happened was funny. The laughter was real. Actually, my best American best friends and I would have reacted the same way. These Cretians still seemed like my kind of guys. During the night, my brain sorted out the problem. At first light, it was clear in my mind what to do. I donned my running shorts and added to my costume a t-shirt with the blue and white Greek flag on it. Here I come. Solemnly, the coffee drinkers watched me approach, no gestures, as impassive as the first morning. Look, here he is again, Yorgos. What do you think he'd do now? Is he angry with us? Who knows? To prepare for the occasion, I'd asked my landlord how to insult Cretan men in the way permissible only among good friends. The grossest thing. Trusting they know you're kidding. Call them malakos. Masturbators. Slap the palm of one hand on the back of the other hand, arms stretched in front of you. It is, shall I say, a suggestion of masculine inadequacy? As I got to the Caffenian, I slowed down. I stopped, faced them. Tense moment, friend or foe? I smiled. Calamari! Then waved American style. Up yours! And growled malacos at them, while slapping my palm against my wrist. To push matters closer to the edge, I made a circle with my finger and thumb and stood there grinning, heart pounding, afraid I really just might get the hell beaten out of me. The Caffenion erupted with laughter and applause. A chair was provided. Come, come, sit! Coffee, brandy, cigarette were all offered. And with their minimal English and my feeble Greek, we retold and reenacted the joke together we'd made from their point of view as well as mine. Above all, they thought my way of handling the situation, in your face with humor, had Cretan style. Arrogant. Only a true friend would be so audacious. I was, after all, their kind of guy, and they were mine. Seems there was an opening for village idiot, and I filled it. That was the beginning. For a long time, they knew little about me except I was a fool and a laugher who understood something about the humor and social courage of Cretan men. To me, they became friends with names like Yorgos, Manolis, Kostas, Nikos, Dimitri, and Ionias. To them, I became the Americanos Kyrios Calamari, the American, the Honorable Mr. Squid. As I say, I've been going back more than 20 years now, and they've included me in village life. Feasts, weddings, gossips, baptisms, winemaking, olive harvest. My clumsy Greek amuses them still. I return each year in part because I expect laughter from their timeless jokes and stories, often raw, reckless, and wicked. Jokes about old age, sex, war, and stupidity, jokes that make fear and failure and foolishness. Their laughter is not cautious. Without the laughter, the Cretans wouldn't have survived their travails and tragedies across centuries. Cretan laughter is fierce, defiant laughter, and up yours to the forces of death and mystery and evil. They have a word for this laughter. Asbestos Gelos. A term used by Homer. Actually, it literally means fireproof laughter, unquenchable laughter, invincible laughter. And the Cretans say that he who laughs, lasts. And they've been around a long, long time. As I said, that's where I got that story from. Okay? Full credit goes to him. But I think it's a story worth sharing because that's one of those stories where you hear it or you read it and you think, you know, I always feel better when I laugh, but you forget how funny some things can be. I mean, stop and think back to how you first made friends with the people you get along the best with or who have been your friends the longest. I mean, I think back about how Sam and I first met, or my sister Jasmine and I, even my ex-best friend Liz and I can't help but think, my God, those relationships were deep and long-lasting because they started in the most ridiculous, strange, sometimes disgusting ways. And, I mean, disgusting is a relative term. It could mean disgusting sense of humor or literally disgusting in a covered in mud, blood, and guts kind of a way. But they all qualify as that. And those are the relationships that, at least in my life, have lasted the longest and meant the most. But for a long time, my mother said this before she died, and I've been saying it my whole life. If I couldn't laugh at myself, if I didn't have the kind of self-deprecating sense of humor that I have, there's no way I would have lived this long. There's no way. There was too much overbearing depression in my childhood and my family and my existence for so long that if I didn't find a way to laugh, I wouldn't have survived it. That's still the case. If I don't find things to laugh at, I can't function. I can't. I just can't function. So, hopefully you found the humor in the story like I did. Hopefully my telling of it did it justice. I feel a little better now. Hopefully you do too. I'll talk to y'all again next time.